There are online and on-site game jams. The latter is an event where you have to create a game within a time frame. You usually have 2 to 4 days to work on it, and it usually happens over a weekend, so most people can join the fun. It's also a perfect opportunity to be noticed by local studios, or to meet people who are already working in the game industry, or even meet individuals who are also avidly looking to work in the field. The event is usually sponsored by some companies, or even by the government in order to reduce the costs of the food and accommodation. You may need to sleep on site. In some cases, the event provides everything so you can focus completely on the game creation. Global Game Jam 2019 at Fawcett Labs. If you live where game jams are rare and non-existent, you can also do it from your home. Online game jams can take many different formats. The time frame can vary from 1 hour to 1 month, 1 year, etc. There's no rule of thumb, but most of them are shorter than a week. Jammers, those who participate, may find other team members over the internet, or they can work by themselves. Some game jams may create a page on Crowdfund to facilitate the teaming up process. It's highly suggested to avoid a team of more than 5 members. Otherwise, it may be difficult to handle the communication and cohesiveness of the game. Be aware and understanding of people's different personalities and pacing. Try to take into consideration that people are tired and that they may get stressed out very easily. Some game jams offer some prizes for the winner. This can greatly increase the sense of competition, which can have a good impact. However, if you are starting out, you may not want to do a very competitive game jam. It's important to have a very relaxed game jam experience at first, so you learn some techniques and get ready for a bigger challenge. Let's avoid burnout, shall we? You may find most online game jams on the Indie Game Jams website. They include jams from itch.io, GameJolt, and other platforms. In order to find local game jams, you may have to get involved with some associations or organizations that are involved with video game creation. Every January, there's the Global Game Jam, which takes place around the world at physical locations. Also, sometimes schools may organize game jams near you. Stay tuned. Here is a list of the most well-known game jams in the world. Global Game Jam. The themes are usually very interesting. Ludum Dare. Hardcore but thrilling. Weekly Game Jam. A great place to start out. The members are very helpful. Game Maker's Toolkit. They had over 750 games submitted last time. Braggies Game Jam. The community is amazing. We can actually get lots of feedbacks and ratings here. A survey on the game jam experience was created in order to improve the quality and the assertiveness of this article. We have obtained over 65 entries, which were used to enrich some of the upcoming topics. Some graphs will be inserted in the post to illustrate some collected data. Accordingly to the survey and my own experience, overestimating the time needed to create a fully fledged game concept seems to be the greatest struggle that jammers face. Jammers tend to plan very big ideas and ultimately need to cut these down as they run out of time. Sometimes, it's not so easy to simplify these ideas. Time management takes second place. There may not be enough time to polish or to test out the game enough. But in a game jam game, really, well, it's more than normal. So do not beat yourself up. The rush just before the deadline is a real thing. Just jam it. Motivation has been mentioned as one of the biggest struggles. If you work in a team, there may be some people who are not as inspired as you. Sometimes, that is also due to not being able to come up with an exciting idea. When one does not have a solid game concept and goes straight to the development stage, the whole team may lose some significant time after discovering that the game has nothing to do with theme, or maybe the game designer has forgot an essential element of the game that may take a long time to implement: teamwork. If you cannot work alone, it's necessary to find teammates in advance so you and your team can get ready. Dividing the work may be a tad complicated if you have a big team. That's why it's highly recommended that you get to know your members before the game jam starts, so you can learn about one another's skills and limitations. Not taking care of oneself is also an issue during game jams. Some people forget to eat, drink, and even sleep. It's definitely not a good practice, and that may affect your project. Real life happens. Sometimes, someone from your team may simply disappear and show up later when the game jam is over. There are all kinds of excuses, but it's something that can happen to anyone. Just make sure you give your team a heads up. Keep things simple. When we get used to do game jams, we'll learn how to prioritize the tasks better and to keep the game scope contained, manage the time better, work with other people, improve communication skills, realize that starting something is what matters the most. Finishing the game is also good, but that may not happen, and that is okay. We need to learn to let go the projects that did not work well, try new things, improve some acquired skills, organize the team better. It's important to designate the role of each member since from beginning. That way, people will have a better understanding of what they need to do and why they are important to the team. That also helps to plan ahead, especially if you know the abilities and limitations of each member. Code efficiently and properly. When possible, receive feedback and improve the game accordingly. Here are some other popular tools that jammers use: Adobe Photoshop, Trello, Visual Studio, Sprite, Discord, Blender, GIMP, Audacity, Reaper, Mod Studio, Creator, GraphicsCale, Google Drive, Autodesk Maya, both are soil, fungus. Do not be ashamed of using references, and try to pick good ones, not just a random sprite sheet that you found in Google Images. Stick to a color palette. You will thank me later. You may find some on Adobe Color. Recycle animations or sprites that are made during the game jam. You may duplicate and modify a sprite that you have already done to create something else so you do not lose so much time trying to come up with another idea. Again, keep it simple. If you are working on 3D models, consider to keep them low poly. Start with something simple then. If you have time, add new features. Do not focus too much on things that may just be overlooked by the player. The main character, or any other asset that is very present, may need more attention than the other art assets of the game. Programmers can reduce the amount of work by adding effects like particles, shaders, trails, etc. A good programmer knows how to make a game from A to Z by using only placeholders. That means that the lack of art assets should not block the game's development. Some people say, if you do not know how to draw, try pixel art. While this can be true in some ways, it does not mean that you can create a masterpiece without getting to know the medium well. There may be some failures in the beginning. You just need to keep trying. In fact, that's true for any skill you want to develop. Build a code library or a dev kit that you can reference to. Most participants of this survey have mentioned reusing some scripts from previous projects. As long as you adapt it to current game jam game, you are not breaking any rules, right? If two scripts are doing the same thing, they can be merged. Modular coding can avoid cluster in the scripts folder. Write down a list of tasks and their priorities. Focus on them. minimum viable product. And if you have the time and you think it may clarify the game concept, create a technical design document. Learn how to use prefabs. If you are not used to work in large teams, and there is not someone to coordinate the programmers, it may get hectic very quickly. Either way, communication is key for good teamwork. Make sure the work is fairly divided. On that note, you may want to choose a source code control system as soon as possible. GitHub or Unity Collab seem to be the most used source control system at the moment. Learn about their benefits and disadvantages. When you are working with Unity Collab is definitely easier and more practical for the team members that are not used to GitHub. However, the free version of Unity Collab only allows 3 people for each project, and there's a 1 GB storage limit. Assets integration takes a lot of time,